Okay, good kill.
Hello everyone, hope you're having a good day. This is Jeff of Tau Fledermaus. I've got an exciting test to bring you today. In fact, we have two different designs by no other than Alexey Lavrov. The first type is a fin-stabilized discarding sabot penetrator round made out of brass with aluminum fins. The shaft is 8 millimeters in diameter and the total length is 49 millimeters. With its pointed nose, this flechette or little dart is designed for maximum penetration. The second type is very similar to the first. Length, diameter, weight is pretty much the same as the penetrator round, but this one differs because it is a hollow point round. In fact, this is a fragmenting hollow point. And instead of maximum penetration, this is designed for maximum energy dump into a target. Now this is a 3-inch hole or 75 millimeters, and you can see how we barely had enough room to put a roll crimp on there. And for some of the tests, we used no roll crimp at all. Some people say that would never work, but we'll prove those people wrong. Now for all the tests, we'll be using only 10 grains of powder. This is only about 1/3 the powder load that we often use for most of our tests. This will give us a velocity of around 1,000 feet per second. Since these darts are essentially pushed from the rear, all the forces being applied to those fins, I was really concerned about just destroying the darts during the acceleration cycle. Now Alexey did anticipate this and sent some of these little adapters that transfer the energy up through the fins and right against the heavy brass dart. This is great, except he only sent 4 of these and we had 10 darts to test out. This also adds to the length of the projectile and we already didn't have much room to spare in the shell. So it's silly putty to the rescue. The cavity on the right is full of silly putty. It won't compress, and we now have even force against the fins and against the brass body without making the projectile any longer. Let's head out and test these flechettes out. I think despite being subsonic, you're going to be absolutely blown away at what these things can do. We certainly were. This first test was filmed a couple weeks ago, and it was just to determine if my powder load and all my load specs would even work.
Okay, so the pointed one looks like a brass crayon, no roll crimp. It's just stuffed in there.
Yeah.
That's not sciencey at all.
Yeah, everyone says you got to have a roll crimp for it to work, but we'll find out.
We're going to run it through Little Tony because my shoulder's not broken.
Well, people are always asking, where's Little Tony at? Artisan Tony donated this, was very kind. Not expensive, but it was back in a time when everyone was telling us we needed a brake action.
Oh, yeah.
You need a brake action, and he stepped up and sent us this thing.
Yeah. I follow Artisan Tony on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
He's a builder. He builds a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, very talented. He's an artisan.
He's an artisan.
Yeah, okay, let's see how it does.
So are the pizza makers down at Pizza Hut, though. But
True.
all right.
This is the first test shot. It's either going to get stuck in the barrel, it'll just be damaged from the shock, or it'll work. There's 3 different things that'll work.
Right.
And if it holds together and shoots, will it fly straight? There's another calculation.
Let us know I'm lighting off a complete scientific experiment in my shoulder.
Okay, it's light. Don't worry about the recoil.
All right.
Okay, I'm ready.
Out the blue tick.
Yep. 927.
And not bad recoil.
Oh, it's light. That's pretty. And it no roll crimp.
Well, it looks like the 10 grains of powder worked out pretty well, and I decided to stick with this for the rest of the tests. And the reason for that is right here. You can see that the dart penetrated that military-grade Kevlar body armor panel. Absolutely impressive.
Welcome back, Tau Flater, folks. Jeff and OG out here with you on a gorgeous Central Cal Unicornia day, and today we are bringing you another creation from Alexey Lavrov. These are his brass flechette rounds. They're just a long, I don't know, what would you call that, like a long spear or something? Like
Well, flechette or flechettes.
Oui.
That means little arrow in
Little
in
flesh.
French. Yeah. Or dart.
And so Jeff's probably shown these on the tabletop, so of course I'm going to yap about this again, but one of them kind of looks like a little crayon, a little solid point one.
Let me interject, and people hate it when I talk for some reason.
It's
but
your channel. Talk all you want.
I know.
I talk too much.
But with the Dynaslug and the Anferoff bullet, they're like, how come they're not pointed? And what if you made it a hollow point? Well, congratulations. You came to the right videos, because that's exactly what Alexey did here.
There they are. If I were talking, I would explain to you that this one is shaped kind of like a crayon with a little flat nose but a conical tip. And then this one, of course, is sort of a hollow point that's been pre-segmented, so it should expand in softer tissue. We're going to use this one against some ballistic gelatin. We have some expired meat over here, so we're going to try these out. Last week we tested just 1 or 2 rounds out of Little Tony.
One round.
Just
one? I can count to one.
We got it out of Little Tony. We are pretty impressed with how it performed. I don't know, you'll have to wait and see what that one does. But let's go ahead and see what these are going to do in armored tissue, or armored targets and soft targets. We're going to start out with Brandon downrange. He's turned his back on us, so we're going to pop one in the back of his helmet and see if we can make it through. Take a look.
There's still some good spots on that helmet. It's a ballistic level 3A helmet. And we'll see what these do.
Flechette.
Flechette!
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go.
You can see we had a very clean separation of the sabos from the projectile. That made it extremely accurate, exactly where Greg was aiming. But the big question is, did the dart penetrate this ballistic helmet?
What happened?
Well, first off, I found the aluminum fins to the dang thing laying on the ground out in front, but did the little brass flechette round, and this was the solid tipped one, did it make it through? We landed right on the tape. The thing was crazy accurate. That was pretty cool. And when we took his helmet off, we looked inside. I don't know if you can see this or not. There's a little, I guess you'd call it an exit wound, where it came through his Kevlar helmet, went through Doug's biscuit. Check this out. That's a brand new hole. And then, whoop, this is something new on Doug. Look at that.
I think, and I think that's under the helmet.
Yes, this is what we think happened.
Yeah, and
This helmet was on like this.
I can't see on the high speed what exactly happened, but we'll be able to tell.
This helmet was on like that. You can kind of see the trajectory. It hit back here, passed underneath.
And that's really impressive for a projectile going under 1,000 feet per second.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Subsonic.
All right, we got the famous lead plate. About 32 pounds of lead there. I never weighed one until the other day. You know that?
What's that?
I never weighed one of the lead plates until the other day. It's actually like 32 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
I went ahead and I put a green clover on there. That's what we're going to aim for.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm ready whenever you are.
Here we go. Oh, that one
You
went.
can see we didn't have as clean of separation of the sabos. In fact, the sabos didn't break apart at all. This threw off the accuracy a little bit, but it appears the dart penetrated our lead plate.
So 869 feet per second on this one. It was a little bit slower than the
Now,
first one.
if someone was to ask me, can you drive a projectile that's about half an ounce through the lead plate? You saw, I mean, we did the test with the lead plate with all these different calibers, what would go through it and what won't.
Yeah, if you haven't seen that video, step back a couple of videos and check it out. But it's highly unlikely that something that lightweight fired that slow, 869 feet per second. That's slower than a 45 ACP round, but this thing has a smaller sectional density. It's very narrow and thin, but check this out. That's its aluminum tail fins. That's the piece that went through after the brass projectile, and it's really in there. That's not coming out. But check this out. I came over here and looked. That thing has made it all the way through the lead plate.
One of the very few shotgun rounds that have made it through that plate, mind you.
But the other shotgun rounds that made it through the lead plate were heavy, penetrating.
1 1/4 ounces,
solid,
2 ounces.
Yeah, Freightliner pieces of brass plowing through this plate. This thing is like a pencil that we drove through there, a very lightweight brass pencil. But boom, shot right through like a rifle. So
I would have lost the bet if I would have,
If we had a brass detector, we could go down there in the weeds half a mile away and find it for you, but that is pretty cool as a penetrating round.
Yeah.
We were both rather shocked.
Yeah, didn't not see that one coming.
Let's see if it'll take out Brittany's bunker.
Brittany and the Apollo nose cone.
Yes.
The Apollo, man, I see the aluminum tail again on the X.
Now this is actually quite interesting because I thought this would easily penetrate this stainless steel, but because of the angle and the low velocity, it just kind of deflected downwards.
We've had a really tough time getting anything to go through this thing because of its angle, because of how thick it is.
Yeah.
But I will assure you out there in internet land, YouTube island, that Brittany's privets remain intact. And that's all that really matters, isn't it? I'm not going to show you because, again, this is a family show, but...
Okay, let's see. Look at the close-up of the damage there.
So the round hit, we found just in front of the table the aluminum fins. The brass broke away, then the aluminum struck secondarily, but look at that thing. It hit, and because of the angle of our target, it just
Yeah.
turned it into a little fish.
That just kind of shows you what slanted armor will do.
It looks like a horse foot or something.
Yeah.
There
cute.
you go. Call them the horse foot rounds.
Okay.
Horsepower.
Next.
We're going to try and put that round, because they've been fairly accurate. We're going to try and put one right here in the tip of the 7-Up bottle. See if we can get it to go through all three. See what happens to old Brittany. Holy Lord. 1033.
Oh, that was a hot one.
That was hot.
In this shot, we can see that the base of the Sabot is still kind of attached to the back of the projectile. Now, it threw off the accuracy a bit, but it still managed to go straight through all three of the 2-liter soda bottles. And yet somehow it avoided hitting the doll's legs. Yeah, we have some kind of weird targets, don't we?
We hit a little bit low on the first jug. This was the order they were in. It went in and out the first jug, in and out the second jug, made a nice little exit hole, and in and out the third jug, making a nice clean little...
That's amazing because there's so many. You almost never see that. It'll deviate off course real easy.
Yeah,
you know.
these were set up like a train, so I guess as the kids say, this round ran a train on the jugs, did it?
Right.
Passed right through all three of them and out the other end. Yeah, usually when we shoot something through a length of fluid like this, we'll see it jive off to the side here halfway through or bounce off. Or
Yeah. Amazing. It just straight
the fluid
through.
causes it to tumble a lot of times inside. It'll start flipping around through the fluid and go zipping off.
And it doesn't take much to deviate, cause it to deviate, you know.
And you can see though, this is the last jug. I mean, it exited point first on that last jug. We were early on the release of the new iPhone 14. This is a little slider, and we're going to open it up into its extended position, set it in front of the gummy bears, maybe like this. I don't know, maybe like, oh look, it's got a little mirror on the back.
What does that do?
It reflects things.
Huh. Okay.
But,
why would you need that?
Maybe we'll set it up here like this. I'll aim for the mirror.
No, you got to go through the thick
Are
part.
we going to go through the lens? The camera lens?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Right through the camera lens then.
And we'll see if that'll protect the 2 gummy bears, ballistic
Yeah.
gel gummy bears, mind you.
And you said newly cast, right?
Yeah, these are brand new casts.
What show? Was it a Broadway show or
Yes.
a movie? So yeah, we're gonna see if it makes. I'm pretty sure it's gonna make it all the way through.
Right,
let's just say that.
But can you hit it?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
But it'll look cool.
Okay.
910.
I think I hit the phone.
I think you did.
Now in this shot, it's assumed we had a very good clean separation of the Sabots and the projectile was dead on accurate. You see, it's not always Greg's fault when things go awry.
I was aiming for that little tiny black camera lens. It's the size of a postage stamp, and we hit the little.
Mamma mia!
It's a Samsung, not an Italian phone.
Oh, okay.
Italians even make phones,
I don't know.
and then that's a spicy Motorola. We flipped it over. There's the exit wound, so it went right through our slit open phone. It no longer slides. But here's what's cool. If you come forward, look at this.
Okay.
This was the gummy bear right behind it. Look at those little glass shards in his belly. Ooh, that's
ouch.
gonna hurt.
Ouch.
That's gonna hurt. And of course it passed out the back. You can barely see the exit hole on this guy. I had to look long and hard, but I found the entrance hole here.
These are, I'm gonna call these things the super perforators.
Super perforators.
Super perforator. Now
We have a meatloaf, and it would do anything for love, but it won't do that. Oh no. Still a little bit frozen on the inside, but nice and thawed out here. So that should blow up nicely if that round.
and we're gonna use the hollow point one.
We're gonna try the segmented hollow point. It should break apart inside the meat, but in doing so, it should make a lot of damage. It's kind of designed, I think, for meat damage.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's give it a try and see if we can damage the meat.
I assume you're aiming at the middle of it, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm ready.
sort of makes sense. Ooh,
Wow.
first of all, we kept it clean.
Didn't fall on the ground.
No tarp needed.
I can barely operate the cameras, and people are like, "How come Jeff never filmed?" Because I gotta operate these cameras.
All right, here comes the projectile, and look at how much tissue damage we have there. And again, a lot of viewers ask why me, Jeff, spelled with a J, doesn't shoot. Is because I got to concentrate on the cameras, and even with that much concentration, I still get things wrong once in a while.
Whenever it throws something like that, it shows you that it's dumping energy.
Yes.
It didn't just go straight through, you know.
Created one heck of a gaping meat hole. Punched in the end here. It shattered the bones. You can see the bones in here. Just shattered them. Plowed through. It did not go lengthwise all the way through the chunk of meat, though. What we hypothesize. Down over here on the right side, what I think was the right side at the time of shooting, was a exit hole.
So it could have hit the bone and deflected, in other words.
It hit and exited out. But
Gotcha.
while it did that, look at that. It just shredded all this meat in here.
Man.
And then on the bottom, this is all broken bone down here, but it just cracked, sheared.
It'd probably be a pretty good round for deer hunting and stuff, you know?
It wouldn't be too bad. This one is the segmented hollow point, so it didn't plow really deep inside. It's not like for shooting bears or anything, but
Probably work.
It probably
if it go through a lead plate, it's going to go through a bear.
well, that was the penetrator round.
Right.
So that round, I'm sure, would have gone right through this. This one's kind of more designed to break up and do a lot of damage close, and that's exactly.
But it still
what
has
did.
a big mass of the
Yeah.
rest of the shaft and everything.
I'm sorry, did you just say a massive shaft on the YouTube? What do you think they're going to focus
Just
on?
shut up, camera guy.
What do you think they're going to focus on?
Shut
for the
up,
rest of this
camera
video?
guy. That's why people tell me to shut up.
Jeff, his massive shaft and this gaping meat hole.
This is the penetrator dart.
Yeah. So this one might not move it much.
I don't think it will. Okay, whenever you're ready.
Here we go. Woo. Woo.
Now this is a very good example of a subsonic projectile that's very streamlined, passing through gel, very, very small wound cavity, and very little energy transfer. This is kind of what just an archery arrow would look like going through gel, in fact.
Well, the first thing I noticed when I came up here, first of all, our gel block stayed on the table. We didn't even need our giant tarp. But look at these little components up here. Here's a piece of the Sabot burrowed into the gel block. This one's stuck in the top too. That just goes to show
That's the
all
base of the Sabot.
Yeah, that goes to show that all of the other parts that come off of a shotgun shell are still pretty dangerous.
Yes, they're hauling ass.
However, this is the entrance wound right here. I don't know if you can look down from the top. It made a perfect little laser line right there. No expansion whatsoever. Not that we expected any. Perfect little line. It hit the vest, knocked Justin off. When I picked up the vest off the ground, this was stuck in there.
Oh, we finally got one that's completely intact.
Yeah. Because the gel slowed it down, I think.
Yeah. Didn't rip the fins off, surprisingly.
It made one hell of a bulge there, but look at that.
Not bad.
All right, here we go. Segmented hollow point. Oh, everything stayed intact. Oh,
Now, in contrast to the first shot, we see a lot larger temporary wound cavity on this shot. Now, both darts were shot at the same velocity, have about the same weight, but we have a completely different reaction in the gel, a lot more energy transfer in this case. And this really shows you the contrast between a projectile that's designed to penetrate and one that's designed to dump its energy.
Big difference in energy transfer that time.
Yeah. Joe stayed on the table. Vest stayed on the table. Justin took off for Canada or parts unknown. So the round hit, came apart inside. If you kind of come in closer, you can see the little, what do you call that? Little
tracks?
Gas seal.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, the tracks from this. It looks to me like the two big Sabot pieces are still in there.
Oh.
And then this big giant curved track that zooms out here and exited on the back. See that big old wound track there? And then this piece zooming out the side.
And then there's at least one or two pieces of brass in there still, right?
Yeah, there's a shard in there. All the plastic components are gathered up right there, probably about
the Sabot pieces.
4 inches, 5 inches deep.
Yeah, it probably the gel opened up, you know, the entrance wound, as it often does. Just lets all that garbage in.
I'm seeing one brass shard in there, though. Still a pretty gnarly wound.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
That is it.
That's it. That was the last one.
That's all we got.
They all worked. I was really worried about, you know, overpowering these things and actually breaking them, you know, causing them to break in the barrel. Trying to push them too hard. Because I'll never be able to replace them.
So your homework now is to take this video, reach down and hit the share button, send it over to 10,000 of your closest friends, and let's make this one go viral.
Yeah, if you're impressed by that, you want your buddy to see it, that helps.
Yeah, if you want to see me drink.
We gotta do something, you know. I hate begging for people to do something. I don't want to tell anyone to do anything, you know. Just do whatever you want. Yeah. Never mind what we just said.
So go F yourself, San Diego. No, we appreciate you stopping by. We absolutely love it when you guys watch the video, when you rate the video, and we really like the comments, believe it or not.
I know. I'll spend hours. I mean, I think it's very important to me because it always bugged me before I had my channel or it was really small, when nobody ever replied to my comments, no matter what size channel it was. No one, it just ignored everybody.
Jeff missed the birth of his first 2 kids because he was reading comments. He actually missed his own wedding because he was reading comments. So that's how important it is that we tune in with our viewers. So.
Yeah, I'll be up till 3 at night, whatever, reading and answering comments.
That's because of meth.
Well, that too. Too much coffee. I don't.
Yeah.
That's the only drug I use is coffee.
All right.
Coffeeum.
Well, there you go. Confessions of Drug Use on YouTube. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. We hope you liked it. Comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one.